Hello, everyone. Welcome to Calling Glass. Welcome to the pod. Welcome to the club. My name is Alvaro, as always. And today in the podcast, reactions and opinions about the conference finals of the NBA 2025. Let's see it. So, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the pod. And like I said, today I'm talking about the two conference finals that are being played at this moment. I'm going to start in the East with the Indiana Pacers versus New York Knicks. Third seed Knicks against the fourth seed Indiana. Currently 2-0 when I'm recording this for Indiana. But with very tight games that could have gone either way, both of them. Actually, the first one should have gone, or probably was going to go for the Knicks, but they lost it in the overtime. Now the problem is that even though the games were tight, the Knicks have to go to Indiana to win at least one, let's say there. Like I said, first game, I'm going to talk about it. They had it, the Knicks, but Nesmith, probably you know, he went completely nuts, making 8 out of 9 3-pointers, 30 points, making like 4 3-pointers in the last 3 minutes. And then Haliburton took over. He has like this clutch gene, or the way that he approaches the endings of the games is incredible. So much confidence, so much joy when he does it, and it was incredible. Like the last shot he made was amazing. I yelled in my house watching it. Actually, not even live, but I didn't know. I didn't know what was the ending. So incredible ending. I want to talk about Haliburton and how unorthodox he is playing basketball. Because the way he moves, the way he plays basketball is not normal. It's almost like, it seems like someone showed him the rules of basketball and then told him, you figure out how to play. Like, these are the rules, you figure out how to play. And it's like he never watched basketball before because all his moves are not normal, let's say. Like, he doesn't make the normal moves. His shot is weird. His dribbles, like, sometimes he's not making the normal. Yeah, like he's so creative and so, like I said, unorthodox in the way that he plays. But it's actually very good. It's very amazing to see him like that. And it's probably good to have this creativity in the game to be a bit less, more improbable, right? Like the defense doesn't know what you're gonna do. In fact, the last play, well, not the last play because it goes to overtime, but that's the last play of the regular game when he attacks. They are down 2. He attacks, then he gets the ball like kind of tipped, and then instead of like shooting or keep attacking, he decides to just run back to the 3-point line, like completely back, turn around and shoot a 3-pointer, kind of like, I don't know, fading away. Like that's not a normal. You're down 2. You don't. A normal player wouldn't do that, but he did it. The ball bounced high and then went in, and he did this like the choke of Reggie Miller, and it was incredible. One of the best games that I have seen of the NBA, at least one of the best endings for sure. Now, it's true that the second game, the Knicks, I feel like they also have a good chance of winning. They were playing a very good defense. I feel like Indiana was not comfortable in offense, but Siakam really held them together. He was scoring in the first quarter. I think he scored like they scored 31 points in the first quarter, I think, and he scored 21 out of them. So yeah, they won because of Siakam and he's one-on-one playing because the defense of the Knicks was really working well against them. Thibodeau played more, this is interesting, Mitchell Robinson than he played Karl Anthony Towns. I see that this is, of course, positive for Mitchell Robinson. I think he's making a lot of struggle in offense, getting rebounds, which is like impressive. He gets almost all the rebounds in offense. And then in defense, he's able to protect the paint better than Towns, or pretty good protect the paint. And also, he's able to stand his ground when small guards attack him from the outside. So he's able to do that, move his feet better than Towns. And that's why Thibodeau played him, actually. But I don't know if this is like a good plan. I mean, playing him more, definitely. But like at the same time, it feels like the Knicks are playing at what Indiana wants to play. Like the Knicks are the one adapting to defend to Indiana. Instead of like the Knicks saying like, hey, we have Towns, which is an all-star and he's an amazing offensive guy, and we're gonna punish you, Indiana, with Towns in offense. But no, it feels like they're like, okay, you are hurting us, so we are like taking away our second best offensive player and putting Mitchell Robinson to try to guard you. And I don't know if that's the best. That's the best way. You know, it feels like Indiana is making always the move ahead of the Knicks. But yeah, let's see. I also think Mitchell Robinson should play more, but let's see how they do it for the next game. Also, for Indiana, their center, Miles Turner, completely different offense when he is playing than when he's not playing. When Thomas Bryant is playing, or their third center, Bradley, is playing, their offense is much less efficient. There is less space, obviously, because they're worse shooters, these guys, or they don't shoot. And yeah, I think sometimes it doesn't show in the stat sheet that Miles Turner is helping the team, but he is. You know, like he's not like he's scoring points. It's not like he's even touching the ball, but just him being in the 3-point line, opening the court, it's good enough, and it's very valuable for the Indiana Pacers to have a good, fluid offense. And also comparing Turner with Towns, because Towns used to say, or he said, that he was the best big man shooter of all time, which I don't agree. I think it's Nowitzki. Just they are playing different eras. So, of course, Nowitzki, if he would play now, he'll be shooting much more 3-pointers. But yeah, still, Towns, hell of a shooter. But I think, like, as a pure shooter, Turner is even better than him. Like, his touch, his feel, his wrist, and his shot is spectacular. It's like if he's open, he's not going to miss, and he's going to shoot like a bomb because it goes very vertically, the shot, and goes in like a perfect swish. And I think, like, as a pure wide open, let's say, you are wide open shooter, I think Turner is better than Towns. Towns obviously is better player in general, and it's better at creating shots for himself. But fully wide open, or even the mid-range wide open, I think Turner has like a little better wrist flick, I will say. But yeah. Okay. I keep talking about Pacers players because they amaze me. And I want to talk about Naismith because he's kind of inspirational in a way, because this guy was cut from the Celtics roster. Like, they didn't even want him as a 14th man in the roster. And now he's in Indiana, playing the conference finals, second in a row. And he scored 30 points in the first game, giving the win to his team, actually. And he's like, he's the best defender on the team, a guy that was cut. And why I want to talk about this, because, well, right now he will be perfect fit he will have been a perfect fit for the Celtics when they have, Tatum injured. And before having Tatum injured, he will be perfect for the rotation. He will be perfect for many rotations of many teams. It's just fascinating how one person, because I feel like basketball is reflection of life, right? Everything that happens in basketball is just life maxified, right? And I think it's amazing how one person, in this case Naismith, can change completely their trajectory from going to a place that they don't like him to moving to a place that they like him and they value him, and he's adding a lot of value to the team that he's in. So yeah, just amazing change of trajectory for Naismith, and props to him because he probably worked very hard to do that. Keep talking about the Indiana Pacers. I want to talk about something that I find interesting, because from the bench they have Benedict Mathurin, which at first glance he looks like a very talented player, athletic with talent. He looks like a star, like the style of a NBA star, but he's actually playing less than Nembhard, which I also like a lot. Playing less than Naismith, with both of them look less like a star than Mathurin, and he even played less than McConnell and then Ben Shepherd in the second game. Ben Shepherd was actually pretty good at playing defense on Brunson and making some wide open shots. And it's interesting to think about this because I guess in basketball it's not always, or well, we all know this, but it's not only about talent and about athletic ability, but IQ and probably also a strong mindset plays a big factor um, in basketball. And yeah, I feel like that's what's happening with Mathurin. He's very talented, he's very athletic, but he probably, or he doesn't make the correct reads, or he doesn't maybe, yeah, that's probably it. He doesn't make the correct reads, and he maybe doesn't put as much effort as other players do. Um, and that's why some other players, which are at first view worse, they're actually playing more and they're playing better than him. Uh, Keeping with this tone of conversation, I want to talk about T.J. McConnell because I also saw a real Instagram reel from him. I don't watch TikTok reels because I'm an adult. I watch TikTok reels in Instagram. And, yeah, he was saying that playing hard, he considers it a skill. It's not just like a thing that you can do. It's like a skill because if everyone could play hard, everyone would play hard. And that's not the case. Not everyone plays hard. So he thinks that's a skill that he has and he has developed. And I agree, actually. And he said that when he was playing maybe in high school or early college days, he thought of himself that he will master the full court pressure and the playing hard. And he will like work on his athletic ability to always pressure full court, and that will be his identity. He's the guy that pressures full court and plays hard, and that's his identity. And just doing that, well, that's pretty good. That's not but just doing that, he has done, and he's still in a 10-year career in the NBA, which is impressive and it's kind of badass, and also motivational. So yeah. Okay, I keep going with Indiana. Siakam, I want to talk about Siakam because he had an amazing game 2, 39 points. And also Siakam, another player that developed a lot. I feel like it's true that he won an early championship in his career as a starting guy, but not as the scorer or ISO scorer that he's now. His game developed so much. Well, he's much better now than he was. His athletic ability was still good both times. His motor was good, but now his one-on-one moves are much better. And also another player that developed a lot and worked on his game. The only thing that I want to say is that I don't know what he's doing with his free throw shooting mechanics. He's like shooting with one hand, and he's missing a lot of them. In the game, he shoots normally, but in the free throw, he goes up with both hands, like with the support hand of the main hand, and then he only leaves, like he retires his left supporting hand and he shoots with that hand. And I think that's making him miss some shots because he's like probably losing a bit of balance. I don't know why he's doing that. I don't know who taught him that, but he should shoot the same way that he shoots in game. And then the last thing, I feel like Indiana, it's amazing how they keep running no matter what. Their pace is always high. They always play in a constant transition game. Doesn't matter if they get the rebound and play actually in a fast break, or they get score, they inbounds quick and they play in transition. They get a block shot, doesn't matter. We get the ball, we keep playing. We don't restart the game. They play. We keep going with how the play is. I attack. I get block. I get ball, and I don't kick it out and say like, okay, new play. No. I just keep going and keep cutting and keep passing, and it's like a constant, never-ending play. And it's amazing and it's working very well for them. Of course, Haliburton is the pinnacle of this game style. And yeah, and also they are doing very well. I want to say one thing to mention is that they are doing very well attacking Brunson in the defensive end, which he's like they are doing that a lot. Whoever is guarding him can be Nemhard, Nesmith, if he's guarding Haliburton also. They're trying to look for the mismatch. But yeah, it's working pretty well, but they're attacking Brunson. I feel like I'm just talking about Indiana. I'm not. I like them, but I also feel like the Knicks have done actually good job. I think they lost 2 games in the Wired, and that's it. Like, I don't think they should really overanalyze I mean, they can analyze, but I don't think they should be like, oh, it's over. It's not. You were almost there twice. And the first game, you actually almost had it. It's true that now, if the series goes farther, the good thing for Indiana is that they have a big rotation, so they look very fresh already, and they probably keep looking fresh. Probably teams should think about this when they plan for the next season, because actually, out of the 4 teams left in the conference finals, I feel like 3 of them have a big rotation. Indiana, OKC plays out of guys. Minnesota plays out of guys. Also, young teams, so they avoid more injuries. Knicks is the only team that is not rotating that much, but still, at least they have a lot of guys who can help and yeah. But yeah, probably something to think about. And also, if the series goes farther along to maybe 6 games or 7 games, that might hurt more the Knicks than Indiana. I want to see what Thibodeau does in Game 3. If he's gonna play more Mitchell Robinson, if he's gonna start him, maybe if he's gonna play less Hart or play less Towns. Like, I want to see what goes on, but they probably need to do some adjustments. And I go with my prediction. I said originally that Indiana will win in 6 games. I'm actually gonna stay by that, even though they are now up 2-0 and going home. I think Knicks can steal 1 game in Indiana, so that will be 3-1. Then they might go home in Game 5, and I think they can win that one. So that's 5. And then Game 6, probably Indiana closes the series out. I think, actually, I don't know. It might close. I think Indiana wins. That's my bet. I think my bet is now saying 6 still, but maybe it can be 4 or 5. But 6 seems reasonable. I think Knicks have been there, so just by statistics, they could win like a couple of games out of the next 4. And yeah, now I move on to the next series. The series in the West, in between Minnesota Timberwolves, the 6th seed, against Oklahoma City Thunder, the 1st seed of the West and of the whole NBA. As right now, as today, they're 2-1 for OKC. And actually, this series started 2-0 also for a team like the Knicks, Indiana, but the games were completely different. It was huge domination by Oklahoma, but now Minnesota in the 3rd game actually completely massacred OKC. They won by 40 something, 42, 41, and they were even up 45 at some moment of the game. So see, things can change a lot in the series. Like this series that was 2-0, OKC looking very dominant, they actually lost by a lot. So, you never know if you're a Knicks fan. You can still dream. And I actually dream out long, like a Game 7. So that would be great. But yeah, I feel like Minnesota, coming back to Minnesota, they gave OKC the same medicine that they were receiving. They were like how the turntables, right? They were up in the passing lanes with out of hands, pressuring a lot the ball and getting steals. They were closing up a lot the space for Shai when he was playing 1-on-1. They were focusing a lot on him, leaving a bit of like the first line. The strong side was actually getting or closing up with Shai, even though they leave their man a bit open for a 3-point shot. But it worked well because they were leaving guys up semi-open, and these guys were like receiving a shooting, the OKC secondary players, and they were not making the shots. So it worked for Minnesota, and this has happened before, that Oklahoma doesn't make shots. It happened against Denver. So maybe that's where Minnesota goes forward with. They keep going to that. But yeah, they changed their defense. They were like, okay, Shai is not going to score 35 or 40 on us. We're going to play a better defense. We're going to close up a bit on him and let the other guys shoot. And they shot and they missed. And it worked. From the offensive side, Minnesota is much better with Conley on the court. He is the guy who has the best plus minus on this series for the team. And I feel like whenever he's in the bench, they struggle because I don't think Alexander Walker, I don't think he's a real true point guard. And the offense stays a bit more static. Also, Anthony Edwards, sometimes he keeps the ball too much in his hands in the top of the key, and it's not helping the offense be fluid. But I felt like Minnesota also changed a bit the offense. They shot less from three. They shot less or with more, working a bit more into the defense. Like they were trying to attack a bit the rim more and then kick out. I feel like games 1 and 2, they were just, Oklahoma was doing the same thing that Minnesota was doing. They were closing up the space with Edwards. Edwards was kicking out to the wing, and the wing was just letting it fly, but too quickly. Like they were not making the shots, and they were not fully open. I feel like this game, Minnesota speculated a bit more, which is good for them, and they tried to attack more the rim and work out a bit more the defense, and it worked well for them. Randall, much better game, amazing game actually. Also, I think like he was working a bit closer to the rim. He felt more comfortable. He was not attacking that much from the dribble against the smaller defenders. Actually, I thought, watching game 1 and game 2, which was horrible, I thought they were trying to pass him the ball in the post, but they were fronting him, so he couldn't get the pass. And I thought they should try to give him to play him in the high post, like Jokic or Sengun did in these playoffs, which is easier to get him the ball. It's true that then it's not as easy to attack, but I feel like it would have been good for him. And I think in general, this game 3, he didn't specifically attack from the post, but he was much better. And I think like he was attacking from closer or attacking more the rim. And I think actually that's the key to Minnesota. I think it goes through that path. They are the bigger team, actually. And they need to be and play more in the interior and play more in the paint and attack more the paint. Even though if later you kick it out to 3-point open, but I think they should be the team that slows down the game and goes more to the paint. I think that's where their advantage against OKC is, because OKC has the best exterior defense of the league, but their interior defense is not as good, and they are not a big team, actually. They have 2 big guys. Well, 3 with Jalen Williams, but they have Chet, Hartenstein, Jalen. That's it. The rest of the guys are not big. They are not even 6'5". They are 6'5" and under. In the other hand, Minnesota has Gobert, Randall, Nas Reed, and even McDaniels. And also Anthony Edwards is a great attacking the rim. So I feel like that's where they can take the advantage in offense. From OKC side, from the OKC side, like I said, I feel like they have the best perimeter defense. Dort, Caruso, and Wallace are incredible. These guys, like, it's horrible to play against them. It's even Anthony Edwards struggles, and then he gets like a screen, but then they switch, and instead of Caruso now is Dort, or instead of Dort now is Carson Wallace. So it's like, yeah, you go from worse to even worser. Let's see. I want to see what OKC does offensively, because their offense didn't work. Now that they are gonna not let Shai play one-on-one, let's see what they do. Maybe they start playing more pick and roll, because that works. But just pure one-on-one is not gonna be enough for OKC. And yeah, I'm gonna go with the prediction. I want to say before that actually from OKC, the guy with the worst plus minus is Hartenstein for this series with a -9. So yeah, but the prediction, I feel like even if OKC, let's see what they do on offense, but I also feel like some games the secondary players are gonna score, so 3-pointers, like it happened against Denver. There is gonna be a game that Caruso makes 5 3-pointers, or Dort makes 5 3-pointers, or Aaron Wiggins, or someone. So they're gonna win a game like that, or 2. And I think this start of 2-0 is a big advantage for them. And I think they might actually win this. I mean, they were up 2-0, and everything was looking that they were going to win. Now they are 2-1 up, and I still think they will win. I don't think it's going to be... I think they will win in 6 games. Minnesota maybe... I think they will win 1 game more, Minnesota, and then, yeah, I think OKC might finish this back in Minnesota, winning there. So, yeah, that's my prediction. But it's interesting to see what adjustments they will do. So yeah, that's all. Last thing to say, they said they already published who are the all the not all stars, the best, yeah, all NBA lineups, the three of them. So you can look them. I'm not gonna say them now, but you can look them up. And they also, of course, say that Shai is the MVP. Not in my opinion, but he got the trophy. And it's funny or not funny, but Michael Malone, who's now working for the ESPN, said a weird comment about Shai, saying something like, and that's why he is the MVP before he received the MVP trophy. And then the next day he corrected himself and he said, like, I would have voted for Jokic. I mean, it sounded a bit, when he said it, that's why he's the MVP. He sounded a bit like he was hurt from the Denver and from Jokic, but maybe it could be a bit misunderstood, and he was just explaining that's why he will be the MVP, right? Like he's doing those things good, and that's why people will vote him to be the MVP. He was like making already. He was saying that he will be the MVP. That's why. And I think it makes sense also. So yeah, but yeah. That's all. That's all I wanted to mention. Everyone can think, can have their own interpretations of that, of Michael Malone's comments. So yeah, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you like it, and I hope you give a like. I hope you follow, and I hope I will see you next week with the next podcast. That's all for today. Bye bye.